The watch that I've got here in my hands, it's here for one reason only. Because one of my viewers, he's actually bought this watch and he goes, Pete, it's phenomenal. You gotta get it on the channel, have a look at it, review it. You gotta get it in the hand. You will not believe how good the quality of this watch is. Now this viewer has also got some very expensive watches in his collection. And for him to praise a watch like this, I thought, let me check it out. On first impression, you're probably thinking this is an homage to a Tudor Black Bay 58. And I tell you what, yes and no. Because I own a Tudor Black Bay 58. And I've had this for a long time, and I've been wearing this for a very long time. And I've got to be honest, this watch here gives me a completely different feel from this watch. The only similarities I can see from these two watches is basically the case shape. And that's where the similarities end. Because this Escudo gives off a completely different vibe on the wrist. And just like my viewer mentioned, the quality on this particular watch has completely surprised me. Now, for a micro brand, it's not an inexpensive watch. It does come in at a fairly hefty price. But in saying that, having handled and owning watches in the high price categories myself, the execution on this particular unit is very impressive. Case, the finishing, the chamfering, the beveling, the attention to detail, the crown, it's really right up there for the price. And the watch also offers a couple of little surprises which caught me off guard. Now Escudo has sent this watch out for review without the need for it to be returned, so I'll leave all the links in the description so you can get on their website, have a look at what they offer. And it's a relatively new brand basically driven by history, because their ethic and their vision is the bravery of the Portuguese and British early world explorers. And you can see it in this watch. Looking at the applied indices 12, 3, 6 and 9, that looks like a compass for navigational purposes. Even their crest or their emblem, you can see there's a cross on that crown and on that case back, because the word Escudo means shield or coat of arms. So there's a running theme here with this watch regarding history and the explorers. Now looking closely at the dimensions of this watch, for a sub 40mm watch, it's really well balanced. And even that height, which I measure at 13.5mm, sits quite well on the wrist because of that box sapphire crystal. Technically speaking, one of the heroes of this watch is that crown. It's a beautiful 7mm crown, it's a screw down crown. The watch offers 200 meters of water resistance, and the weight, as I've got on this rubber strap, comes in at exactly 106 grams. Now the overhead shows that the footprint is sitting beautifully on my wrist. As you can see, even that case height, which I measure at 13.5, seems to be quite comfortable. The watch does come with two different types of straps, this particular rubber one, as well as a nice thick leather strap. The look that's coming off that dial, with those indices and those applied markers on that bezel, which are lume filled, is quite unique and individualistic to this particular watch. And speaking of that lume, the watch offers super luminova. On initial impressions, it looks very good, evenly applied. My only real concern, that lume pip, it is slightly smaller than the rest of the lume plots. My preference would have been for that to be a little bit larger, just to balance out, so that it can stand the test of time. Even the lume looks like a compass, something for navigating. And speaking of time, I've actually put this side by side next to my Black Bay 58. And you can see the lumes side by side. Even the Tudor's lume pip isn't that big and doesn't last as long as I'd like. Nonetheless, getting back to some of the details of this watch, that 7mm crown which features their crest, their logo, that cross, has got enameling in it, and the action of it is absolutely superb. Now the movement of the watch is a Sellita SW200-1, no date. There's no ghost position, it's a single click, it hacks, you got about 38 hours power reserve. This particular watch here that I've got in my hand has been running at about +4 seconds a day, and the hand winding, latch down experience of that crown has been also superb. Now one of the things that caught me by surprise on this watch is that crystal. It's a boxed sapphire crystal, and what Escudo has done, they've actually etched their logo into that crystal. And that's pretty schmick. So my viewer did tell me that you're going to be impressed with the attention to detail and the finishing, and in that regard I have no problems with this watch. They've really gone the extra mile. And even looking at that crown, when you screw it down, this particular one seems to line up just beautifully. Even that crest at the back, as you can see, it's vertical, straight up and down. So there's a lot of little details. They've got a little fleur de lis in the corner there. So these little nuances and attention to detail make a world of difference to enthusiasts and watch geeks. And the running theme of their crest and their logo is consistent on this entire watch. You can see the 12 o'clock on that pip, the colours of the Portuguese flag, green and red. I think a very patriotic, a very well thought out execution and design language. Lastly, before I talk about any gripes of this watch, let's have a look at that bezel. It's a 60 click unidirectional, it goes in one direction, it's got lume plots everywhere as you can see. The action is very good, very tactile, very minimal backplay, and everything seems to line up just perfect. Now, what are the gripes that I've had of this watch throughout the week? Well, first and foremost, the box sapphire crystal is doing a good job, albeit there is a bit of distortion on extreme angles, but I suppose that's to be expected with a crystal like this. The fact that these watches come in limited edition, not really a requirement as far as I'm concerned, not a necessity. That solid caseback is superb, really well finished. Potentially an exhibition caseback would have been nice, but in saying that, looking at their website, some of the new models that are coming out do feature an exhibition caseback with a custom rotor, with the Portuguese flag colours as you can see. Whether it adds to the height or not, I'm not quite sure, but a nice little touch. And lastly, I'd probably have to say that price. It's a tad high, although the quality is superb. Personally, I would have preferred to see at that price this watch supplied on a bracelet and these straps as optional. It just would have made it a little bit more palatable. But quality wise, execution, the chamfers, the bevels, the sharpness, the way this thing is assembled and finished, I really can't complain. It's really right up there with any other major brand in its finishing, in watches that I've handled up to about $5,000 or $6,000. So if you're looking for a really well finished watch, attention to detail, some little quirks with the design elements, this is definitely a micro brand to have a look at. I hope you enjoyed that, guys. Again, I want to thank my viewer for suggesting I have a look at this watch. It has been a surprise because it's been really well thought out and executed in its finishing and quality control, offering things like drilled lugs, great proportions, excellent tolerances and quality finishing. I think it's a viable option for people looking for a very nice lifestyle watch with a unique flair. Thanks for watching. Hit me up in the comments, let me know what you think of this piece or if you've had experience with this particular brand. And we'll see you all in the next video.